the way that I'm doing it this morning, but I want you to address the shoulder girdle both anterior, what is it called? Supine and prone.
On the front and on the back.
Yeah, I was trying to get overly complicated. The front and the back. But also later on we're going to do a little side work too. But this morning we'll just keep it this way and then that way. Okay. So what I'd like to see in your work is just a little general loosening, but also try to bring your sense of self into keeping in mind the components of it. So I'd like you to think about, you know, whatever script plays in your mind as far as addressing the muscle and bone content.
Wow.
And part of this work today, along with what myofascial work we bring, is that we're going to be doing maybe a little bit more stretching than you're used to, because we're dealing with these lines of energy through the body, these meridians. And we're going to do some general larger stretches to open up the area, and then we're going to do specific points or subos for the work, okay? You're not going to spit up or anything.
Projectile.
You know, in doing these stretches even too, I really can't separate myself completely. So in doing the basic, hey kiddo, in doing these, I try to think about these major muscles. So after some little general warming, you know, my thumb sort of naturally goes on the angle of pec minor, you know, because that's going to encourage a little bit more openness into the shoulder. And this is a really nice way of just addressing that muscle, because we have this angle going on just below the pec major, correct? As it comes up and attaches onto the coracoid process. Excuse me.
Go in a circle.
Sorry. I'm new at this. I don't. Somebody's having fun over there.
Yeah.
And y'all are, and this is also gives me a sense of where your training is too. So, you know, pec major, yes, and then coming up underneath the pec major for pec minor. Okay, so in doing this, just to be clear that you're lifting up and letting your fingers first not immediately search for the muscle, because it's a little bit too invasive, but rather let your fingertips come into the rib cage and follow the contour of the rib cage up. And that way it's easier for the body to take, but also you'll ensure that you'll come right into the lateral border of pec minor. Feel that contact? So again, it's lifting up so that and after generally loosening the pec minor, come up and just address here, yes? So you get that sense of release. And then also,
Well, I have a question.
yes?
So for larger breasted women, how do you avoid making it feel like you're handling their boobs?
Well, you know, in that case, if for some reason the way they are endowed that I can't get in there without that, it depends on my relationship with the person. I might ask them to move their breast over or do that with draping, if you're using draping. But usually then, from then I do side work.
Oh, okay.
Because then gravity's working with you, basically. You know, so that way there is a natural displacement towards the midline, and then you can more readily address pec minor.
Do implants affect that?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. I've been working.
I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just asking.
No, not really. It's fine. I mean, it's particularly sideline work is great. You can get at it pretty easily.
Now, if you're on the floor, are you using your foot some here, or you're down
No,
on your knees?
I'm on my knee doing this. So, and then the other area is subscapularis. Okay. So subscapularis again, and this helps setting up subscapularis first by doing some stretching here because of the ligamentous and tendinous attachment of the musculature that supports the shoulder girdle in general. So with subscapularis, you want to lift and then displace here, and you'll go right in up underneath the scapula. Feel? And this is a really nice way of doing it if you're not familiar with this. But again, stretch out and then up and then sink down, and you'll come right in and over. You'll come right into the back of the right into the subscapularis.
Does it hurt?
It feels
That's
good.
great.
It
A
hurts
little hurt.
good.
A little hurt.
You know, it's we all know it's. You know, it's a very sensitive area. But again, you know, talking about that premise of, you know, pain, it's like how you approach it. So again, you have to get a sense of how you're choosing the work on the body. So we have to back ourselves up a little bit, not just think, oh, subscapularis, you know, really. But we have to work from out here and, you know, really have our consideration about how we're going to do that, basically. You know, so to, you know, open the area up, invite space first, because that's always something, you know, it's like open it up so people feel the space, and it's not so closely confined, and then instill a little movement, and then just gradually just sink in. And this is where your breath awareness is so important. Remember that thing we were talking about just trying to keep about you that natural sense of rhythm, you know, that not only we recognize, but their body recognizes. They feel that, like, you know, we're more grounded, too. The breath grounds us so that we can be more intuitive. You know, when you're grounded, you're more intuitive. You know, so that you feel more. It heightens your sense of touch when you just take the time to do those simple grounding motions. So up, I get the poke again, that's good. And then here, so that's this way. Just try that this time, okay? And then when you're in the belly, rather than do a lot of motion here with your fingers, you can move the arm a little bit and get some nice release, okay? Rather than, because that way the body can take it a little bit more. It's like, and that sense of engagement, the person is okay with that better than they just really receiving the work. And while you're here, just allow yourself to work this other muscle that we deemed important for the shoulder girdle, which is what? This upper portion of latissimus, which makes up the back portion of the armpit. So, okay.
What do you do with someone with a defibrillator if you work one side, does it give them an imbalance one?
With an defibrillator?
Yeah, they're really big.
They are big?
Yeah, they look
Yeah,
like
they're
fingers
big.
implanted inside.
Yeah.
So what's the question is if I work
The
on...
question, if you work on one side, will it give them an imbalance? Because it's really hard to work.
You can't work in that
Mhm.
area where it's implanted. It looks like someone literally
You
injected
can't work
a
on
page.
the over the area?
It's usually really sensitive.
So already that's one of the causal factors probably of what's going on there. So, but you can't address the area around it.
Some, it's pretty large though.
It's like a
It's
cigarette
like a
pack.
big
It's
insulin
like almost as
pump.
big
You
as
ever
a
seen
cigarette pack.
Like that.
Well, I mean, but you can work the surrounding musculature, right? And then work the other side. I mean, we're always going to work it in
Well,
balance.
this one is said, will it affect imbalance if you really work the other side and not?
No, I think that it would help the whole thing because it's like, you know, antagonist and antagonist group, you know, I mean.